Hey guys, how you doing? It's Tom. I'm back with another video. Listen, on this one I want to talk about sort of like transportation, right? Specifically air travel, to the Philippines and then also within the Philippines, right? Just some general, I'm not going to have like the price of every little flight or whatever, but I'm just going to give you some general ideas so that maybe you can make your decisions, have a little more information, to make your travel decisions, even within the Philippines. Once you get here, you might be coming into Manila or Cebu, but then from there you're going somewhere else, and maybe you're going to meet a girlfriend or something like that, So I just wanted to talk a little bit about it. And obviously, if you're coming here and you know that you're just going to be visiting, and whether it's like 1 month or whether it's 2 months or whatever, right? But if you know for sure that you're going to be going back, you're going back home, and you have like a specific time frame, you know what I mean? Then definitely just get a round trip ticket, right? You know what I mean? Like, even if you're going to be here for a couple of months or something like that, you're still going to be able to get a round trip ticket. And as long as you show when you're leaving, if they ask, you should be good to go, you know what I mean? As opposed to getting like a one-way ticket and then having to buy a throwaway ticket or an onward ticket, Now that would be the case if you're going to come here indefinitely, whether it's going to be living or just for long term, right? Like even for, whatever, 3, 4, 6 months or something like that, right? Or more. Then obviously, yeah, you may as well just get, if you want kind of an open-ended situation, especially if maybe you're going to be in the Philippines for 2-3 months, but then you're going to maybe go somewhere else, but you're not sure where. Like you might say, hey, maybe I'm going to go to Thailand and check it out. Maybe I'll go to Malaysia. Maybe I'll go to Vietnam. If you're sort of open-ended like that, then obviously get the one-way ticket coming here from the States, okay? And then there's 2 things you can do. You can get like an onward ticket. I think it's onward.com or something like that. I actually have not used that company, but I hear from a lot of expats that are living here that, and I've seen videos about it, that it's really reasonable. I mean, it's like you could get a ticket for $15 to $20, okay? But keep in mind, that's good for 2 days. Like, it's a 48-hour period of time that ticket will cover you, and then after that it's no longer a ticket, you know what I mean? It's almost like renting a ticket, for 2 days or whatever, okay? As opposed to just buying an actual cheap throwaway ticket, what you would call a throwaway ticket, which basically just means the cheapest ticket that you could find, right? That's like a one-way ticket out of the Philippines, going anywhere else, going to Malaysia, going to Singapore, going to Vietnam, whatever. The cheapest ticket. And that's what I did actually when I came here to live. I think it was $60 on AirAsia. I believe it was AirAsia. And it was to Singapore, I believe. And that was like the cheapest sort of actual ticket that I could find, one way. Now, I've never flown on AirAsia, and I only bought that throwaway ticket on them, right? Now I've flown on Philippine Airlines, within the Philippines. I've flown on Cebu Pacific within the Philippines, and they're very good. And I'm going to talk about them, shortly here. And it's just some ideas for you guys, once you get here, right? If you have to still travel further, what to do. But if like I said, if you have a definite time frame, like, okay, it's going to be 1 month or even 2 months, but you're going back home on a certain date, or just get a round trip ticket, because you'll get a better price. You know what I mean? Than you would like with 2 one-way tickets or whatever, especially on semi-short notice, like coming home, that could be semi-short notice, like 30 days or less. So just get the round trip ticket. But if you're on an open-ended situation, right, where you don't know how long you're going to stay, or you do know that you're going to live here, Or maybe, like I said, maybe after 3 or 4 months you're going to go somewhere else in Asia. You know, then do the one-way ticket, of course, with an onward ticket within 30 days of arriving in the Philippines. You know, some kind of an onward ticket that shows that you're leaving the Philippines within 30 days. Okay, since you don't have that round-trip ticket to prove that you're leaving or whatever, you know, so just do that, right? And the onward tickets are cheap, like I said, but I don't know. I just didn't want to worry about anything about that renting or 48 hours only, you know. So I went and just bought a cheap, like, throwaway ticket, but an actual ticket, you know. And I didn't get any kind of refund either, you know what I mean? Like, I was thinking, hey, maybe I can get a refund, you know, if I cancel. Once I get here, you know, like, you know, you just sort of cancel it because you've already gotten here, you don't need it anymore, you know, whatever. But I don't know, I just kind of let the date come and go, and then I never tried to get the refund. I don't know if you would, though, for that type of a ticket, you know what I mean, because it's so cheap, you know. Alright, so now I'll talk about a little bit, like, sorry about the shaking, but the okay, Cebu Pacific is a good airlines within the Philippines for really good prices. You know, like, you're more likely going to find a cheaper price with them, you know, within the Philippines. Philippine Airlines is a good airline, and they're reasonable also. I mean, you know, most flights within the Philippines are not going to be that expensive, you know what I mean? Like, even the farthest distance, you know, like if you went from Manila to General Santos or something, you know, that'd probably be a pretty good distance. It's still, you know, like, one way. Oftentimes it's not going to be more than $100 each way, and a lot of times, you know, you can get deals like especially on Cebu Pacific, where you can find flights for $50 each way. You know, so in other words, a round-trip ticket for $100, you know, out of Manila or whatever, you know. And I imagine Cebu also, you know. But some places I think you have to go through Manila. You know, there's some locations that you won't be able to go from Cebu to there. You know, you have to go back to Manila and then go to wherever the location is. But that's a pretty good airline. Now, AirAsia is another airline that operates, I think, within the Philippines. But I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I've never flown on them, but they're so cheap that, like, they're all the time cheap. You know, like Cebu Pacific is generally cheaper than Philippine Airlines, and they'll have promotions on certain flights, right, at certain times, so that you could find really cheap, you know, really good price or a very reasonable price. But I think AirAsia is kind of always cheap, you know, and I don't know, man. I just don't. They seem like they're so cheap that it makes me nervous. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I'm not crazy about the idea of, like, you know, like Walmart Airlines type deal. You know what I mean? That's what I call it. You know, like Walmart Airlines is really cheap airlines, and they're not just in Asia, but they're all over. U.S. has them, has certain airlines that are so cheap. They're, you know, it's like a bus in the sky. You know, it's like riding a Greyhound in the sky. You know what I mean? And usually when you hear about these incidents that happen with passengers going crazy and all that, it's usually on those real cheap flights, you know, most of the time, in these cheap airlines. But yeah, so I can't speak for AirAsia, but I don't know, you know. In my personal opinion, I stick with Cebu Pacific and Philippine Airlines, like within the Philippines, or just driving or getting from the Philippines to maybe another Asian country, same thing. If those two airlines go there, I'll take them before I would take AirAsia, you know, personally, you know. And there's another thing to consider. If you're meeting somebody and you have a really, you know, it's kind of like you're trying to maybe save money, you know, and you're like, hey, I'll just take a bus, you know, to go from here to here, even though it's like a 8-hour bus ride or a 12-hour bus ride or something like that, right? And you're thinking, well, you know, it's probably only 1,000 peso or, you know, whatever, right? You know, each way, you know, maximum. You know, you might want to just, you know, don't beat yourself up, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, you could probably get a flight, okay, for that same 12-hour bus ride route, you know, you could probably get a flight that's going to take like, you know, less than an hour flight. And it's likely you could even find flights for $50 each way. So how much money are you saving? I mean, you know, maybe you'll save $20 or $30 or something each way if you take a bus. But man, it's like 24 hours round trip riding a bus compared to, you know, an hour and a half round trip, you know, the time element, okay, on a flight. So I mean, you know, and like I said, sitting on a bus for that long, I mean, sitting on anything for that long is not really good for you. You know, I mean, you know, it's bad enough you had to take a long ass flight to get here, probably, right? If you came from the US, you know, there's at least a 12-hour flight, and it could be up to 16 hours or 18 hours, you know, depending on what part of the US you came from, okay? And it's just, you know, why do that to yourself again, you know, if you don't have to, you know, like, because you're not going to save that much money, you know what I mean, on, you know, because like I said, the flying within the Philippines is pretty affordable, man, like very affordable, you know. I mean, the average is you're going to pay like $100 maybe, you know, each way. And that's sort of almost like on the higher end, you know what I mean? You could, like I said, you could find deals for less than that, for like more like $50 each way, you know, especially on a shorter flight, you know. Like if it's on the same island or something and you're going from one, you know, Manila to somewhere else in Luzon or whatever, you know, it's not going to be expensive, you know. So anyway, that's just a suggestion for you guys, you know. Just some general information, you know what I mean, about you know, how to get here, or, you know, maybe what you should do, or when to rely on just a one-way ticket with an Onward ticket, and when to just get a round-trip ticket, you know, stuff like that. I just thought I would touch on those subjects, you know. That's about it, guys. So if you got any comments or questions, you know, shoot them to me, and I appreciate it if you do. You know, if you like the video, hit the like button, comment. You know, like I said, I don't mind comments at all. And if you're not already subscribed members, go ahead and subscribe. You know, it doesn't cost anything. So, all right, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good day. Hey guys, yeah, I just wanted to add something to my last video, you know, about air travel and stuff. Now, if you're coming to the Philippines, like I said, and you know you're going to be here for 2 months, let's say, and I mentioned, you know, just to get a round-trip ticket, well, you know, your visa on arrival is only good for 30 days in the Philippines, okay? So they still might want to see either, I don't know, you could either get an Onward ticket, even though you're leaving, and you know, you have a round-trip ticket that's coming home. You're not necessarily going somewhere else to travel, but you're probably just going back home, you know, in 60 days, right? But if they do happen to ask for some kind of, you know, you show them that, and if they do ask you about it, because the visa is only good for 30 days, well, guess what? You could do one of two things. I guess you could, I don't know if you could show an Onward ticket, I guess, you know, just for 20 bucks or whatever, you know, actually go to the Onward ticket website, or you could just extend your visa, because you're going to have to anyway. You know, if you're planning on staying 2 months in the Philippines, when you're only going to get 30 days initially for free, the first 30 days, okay? So if you know you're going to stay for 2 months, then you may as well just extend 1 more month, you know, like at the airport. When you get there, I think you can even do it when you get there at the airport. So that would kind of cover you, you know, like that would take care of that issue of, you know, oh, you know, you have to be leaving within 30 days or extend your visa another 30 days, you know, which you're going to have to do anyway, like I said. So anyway, just keep that in mind. I know I might have confused people with the 2-month thing, you know, because usually people come here, and if they're going back home, usually they're not here for more than a month. You know, they're going to stay for like 30 days or 28 days or 25 days. And then you just buy a round-trip ticket, and you don't have to worry about extending visas or onward tickets, getting onward tickets, right? But if you were going to stay here for 2 months, you know, you would probably still have to show some kind of, either extend the visa 1 more month, you know, for 2 months, or if you're not going to do that right away, you might have to have an onward ticket, you know what I mean? And just show the onward ticket, you know. But either way, right? Like if you're planning on actually staying for, you know, for 60 days in the Philippines, you're going to have to extend an extra month and pay for that 1 month. You know, the first month is free, you know what I mean? That's, you know, from most countries, you know, I mean, a lot of countries coming from the West, you get that, you know, you get that 30 days. I think there's a couple of countries actually that get 59 days, like for initially, you know, instead of just 30. But anyway, I just wanted to add this, guys. So that's about it. All right, I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.